take one.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I have great pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, and I thought I had a diversified working career, but I think I'm a beginner in comparison to Paul Elmslie. I don't know if you are aware, but he actually commenced his business career in the entertainment business, running major events and owning Street Press and a lighting company. And then went on to work for Sony Music as their promotions manager. But after 16 years, he decided that it was a change of direction and became involved in medicine, primarily primary care. In 1999, he wrote the original business plan and became CEO of what has now become Australia's second largest chain of skin cancer clinics, with 14 clinics in 4 states within Australia. I've actually had a look at that paper, which is very interesting. It's a great business model, I like it. Now, let me go through this, sorry. Having seen too many people die unnecessarily, he built a medical training business in collaboration with the University of Queensland School of Medicine, and commencing in 2006, this certificate program has now seen over 5,000 GPs from 11 countries participate, which is something that is quite amazing. He's also working in other areas of medicine, with Monash University and also with the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners. There's so much more I can go through. 5 doctor skin cancer practice in Redcliffe, so that provided to the local community, and also a training facility for GPs and nurses. And then in 2010, he assisted in the development of the clinic model in Phoenix, Arizona, and is continuing to build a US-specific model to assist in managing the fastest growing cancer in America. In the UK, Paul has medical business, working with the National Health Service, and also to a screening clinic business with a chain of private hospitals in the UK. In January next year, he will be relocating with his family to focus on the international development of his business. And just to top it all off, he also too has an MBA from the Business Graduate School of Business, and is currently undertaking a residential master's in entrepreneurship at MIT in Boston. I welcome you.
That's all right. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, diversified. First business was the age of 15, so been around long enough. I do have grey hairs, I just choose to colour them out so not that everybody gets to see them. So what I'd like to do this morning is talk about skin cancer broadly. As I said, I'll give you some sort of backgrounds on it, just things to understand, a little bit about where perhaps it's all going in the future, and then at the very end, if we have time, I'd actually like to show you what a real skin check actually looks like, because it's fairly important that your doctor does do this properly and systematically so he doesn't miss skin cancers. As Jenny was saying, look, my real reason for getting involved in this, we had a lady who we knew had an invasive SCC, which is sort of a mid-level cancer, but it was actually highly aggressive on her lip. She went and saw a GP. GP wasn't comfortable to cut it out. This patient couldn't afford to pay for a plastic surgeon to manage it. She got put into the wonderful public health system. It took them 9 months to see her. She died 2 months later. And it was completely preventable. Every clinician she came in contact with could see this thing on her lip. No one took action. And as a result, she's got children that are now going to grow up without a mother. And when you see situations like that, particularly because of course skin cancer is on the outside of your body. It's the easiest cancer to find because we can actually physically see it. Most other cancers are internal, and of course we don't tend to find them until they're later or by fortuitous situations. But so for me it was really more around the fact that it is easy to manage, it's easy to treat, and all these sort of things, but GPs aren't taught at medical school how to do this. It's one of those sort of things. Medicine is a strange art in as far as a lot of turf protection that sort of exists within the profession. And whilst, of course, we believe in the Hippocratic Oath and we want to do no harm and look after our fellow man, we also want to make sure that we can send our kids to private schools. So it's one of those sort of tough things that, unfortunately, if the ideal world would be we'd all be able to see our dermatologist and we'd go and get in their practice tomorrow. The fact is there's only just over 300 dermatologists and the average wait list is 6 months. So if you've got a suspected melanoma, sitting in a list in a line, you could actually die in the meantime, or at least not die, but I suppose these things don't get better with time; they get worse. So anyway, so what I'd like to do is just talk quickly about skin cancer itself. So I'm not really sure if everyone's aware how common this cancer is. As I said, 80% of all newly diagnosed cancers are skin cancer. 2 out of 3 Australians will be diagnosed if they live to the age of 70. So that's lifetime risk, 2 out of 3. GPs, as I said, in Australia have over 1 million skin cancer consults a year. Now these are the ones they know, by the way. There's a lot of data that's not collected, unfortunately. And as I said, there's about 424,000 people treated for non-melanoma skin cancer. Now what's interesting about this is the government doesn't count it because it's so big. We count melanomas, we know melanomas, they go on a registry. Other skin cancers, of which a third, typically of all deaths, aren't really recorded. So I suppose the key thing for me is that it's, I'll go a little bit into what the different cancers are and why they're important to know them. But as I said, large group of people, small number die, smaller group of people, large amount of die. I mean, the fact is if melanoma is not diagnosed and treated, it is, unfortunately, it's lethal. Okay, melanoma is of course the most common cancer of young people, but that is because they don't develop other cancers typically. But as I said, it is the most common cancer in the younger age group. And it's the third most common cancer of both men and women. So I think the key thing, and we're just talking about melanoma, this is not skin cancer, broader skin cancer. Obviously, skin cancer is the most common cancer in Australia and is the fastest growing cancer. It's also the fastest growing cancer in the world. And as the baby boomers retire and enjoy some more time in the sun, that's only actually, statistic is only going to increase. If you look at the worldwide statistics on cancer overall, it's flatlining or going down as far as mortality is concerned, because we've got better diagnostic, better interventions earlier, all these sorts of things, people are a little bit more proactive. But melanoma is still continuing to rise. And I think it's interesting is, some of the stats, perhaps not necessarily put in here, is, for example, you're more likely to die of skin cancer in England than you are in Australia. Right? The actual statistic is actually 8 times more likely to die of skin cancer in England because people ignore it, wait till it's later, by the time they find it, it's all over. So we're actually quite good in Australia because Slip Slop Slap has obviously educated us to be a bit more proactive about our skin. The challenge and the interest for me to go to the US and UK and work in those markets is the patients, don't even understand that they actually don't need to get a skin check. The real challenge is, of course, is that because we've been talking about Slip Slop Slap for so long, is everyone thinks that skin cancer is your face, your lower arms and your lower legs because that's where skin cancers are. We actually cut more cancers out of the trunk of a male and the legs of a female than any other part of the body. The face is only 11%. So just sort of bear that in mind as we go through this. Look, just once again, it's the most expensive cancer to treat. Well, of course, if it's the most common one, that's likely to be that. But as I said, it is still it's still very rapidly growing. So the government's trying to manage it as best they can, and really is, for me, it's basically about 75% of all skin cancer is managed by GPs in Australia. In America, that figure would be less than 10%. Now, the main reason being is that traditionally this has been the domain of the dermatologist. And once again, I said if we could all see a dermatologist tomorrow, we would. The fact of the matter is we can't. And if you live in a rural area, you have no access whatsoever. So what we're just conscious of is that through the development of the training programs and the other stuff we're doing, it's about empowering doctors to have knowledge to not miss things. So what causes skin cancer? Well, there's 2 things. The big fiery ball in the sky is one of the reasons for that. And the other one is genetics. So unfortunately, we're Anglo-Saxons running around the wrong latitude of the planet. We weren't actually designed to be here. We're meant to be where it's cold and crappy up north in the Northern Hemisphere. And unfortunately, we do run around in the sun. So, and we of course don't practice very good sun behaviour. You can prevent skin cancer by, hat, shirt, all those sorts of things. I'm sure you know what Slip Slop Slap is. But as I said, most of it is caused from UV radiation, but it's accumulated damage